Well, hey there, hobby homesteaders, and welcome back to Peak's Peak. My name's Lucas. We're sharing our hobbies on 38 acres in eastern Kentucky, and today we've got a special video for you. It's a little bit different, and it covers almost a whole year in a project that Cameron worked on. And most of you probably remember Cameron is our oldest son, and Cameron is the one who stole my cow pasture to move in his home so that he could get his family started. And he's been busy going to school and building his career and trying to fix up a nice place for him to live with his wife and daughters. Now, they needed a back porch, but you know how it is when you're young and you're just starting a family. It's difficult to afford everything that you need to accomplish. So I sort of made a deal with him, and I told him if he would film the process, that I would buy him the treated post that he needed to get started on his deck, and then he could use my logs and mill up some lumber and build it and have very little invested in it. Now, as it turns out, that was a little bit deceiving, because to say he has little invested in it does not tell the whole story.
So I did not think there was a chance that this Bombelite was going to move this big poplar log. That's probably a 14 inch by 14 feet. We'll see when he comes through here how close it is to the opening width is 15.6. Yeah, it's about a 14-foot log. That's a good 15-footer. Actually, it's tighter than I thought it was going to be. Come in as your twist. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. This thing is so great for loading logs on here. It's just easy to maneuver. And of course, you know, he's got very little time operating this machine. But he's already told me that he's more comfortable loading logs with this than the tractor. Yeah, he's got it. He'll just roll this down and roll it right up on there. Go up just a hair more, and then you can roll it. There you go. And it doesn't have any problem lifting that. I'd say it's probably a 700-800 pound log, stable as could be. Really well done, really well done.
So I said that he would have little invested in the deck. And it's true that he's got access to a lot of resources here that make it a whole lot easier. But building a deck is a lot of work. And building a deck when you're starting with raw logs, well, that's a whole other ballgame. Now, I did decide to get involved and help a little bit with running some of this equipment because this equipment was pretty new even to me, and we wanted to make sure we didn't tear anything up or hit any wires or plumbing or anything like that. So we put this Bombalite auger on the TYM 4820, and it made this job so much easier than using the old post hole diggers.
It pushed in the siding.
But once we had the post holes dug, it was time for him to really get to work. So he started out with some of the boards that he milled. He wanted to plane everything down and make sure they were all good and smooth so they didn't end up with splinters and all that. So he put a lot of time and effort into making this lumber nice. Now, I didn't have a whole lot of time to help him because I was building a house of my own, but when I had a few moments, I enjoy getting involved in projects with the boys, so I tried to step in and help just a little bit when he first got started. I know from having to work alone a lot that certain projects, like setting posts, is a whole lot easier when you've got an extra set of hands. Now, once we got all the posts set, well, he was off to the races. Setting up the frame and putting all the joists in, that's pretty simple work, and it's a lot easier to do that kind of work alone. So he pretty much took it from here, finished the deck himself. I could hear that planer running from up where I'm building my house, and he spent a lot of time running that V-bore planer. Now, I've talked a little bit about how much more difficult it is to start with raw logs and turn it into lumber, and it adds a lot of time to the process. But I have to say, there is something really cool about the fact that when you run out of lumber, you can go up to the hill, grab a log, throw it on the mill, and turn it into whatever lumber you need. So with access to the right tools and logs, you can spend an afternoon and come up with a pretty nice stack of lumber. Now, you guys know that MechMax is one of the premier sponsors of our channel, and they sponsored us with this 32-inch sawmill. And you can get into one of these mills for somewhere around $3,000, depending on the options that you choose. And for that amount of money, there's no farm that should be without one. I've been using it to build storage sheds, and I built the shed for the mill. And Lord willing, when I get this house finished, I'll be using it to build some fence. So Cameron got his lumber haul for the day finished up. He's loading it all up in the Bombalite, going to take it down and store it in his shed until he gets time to plane it and then use it for decking on his new back porch. Now, here's something interesting that Cameron shared with us, and I didn't realize what was happening until I was editing this video, but it's pretty cool.
I made a slate uh-oh earlier and broke this, and I got an electrical tape back on so that I could finish today with it. But I think I can make one of these on the 3D printer. So we're going to take this down to the house with me, and we're going to try. If all else fails, it might be able to be glued back together, but we're going to try and be a little more professional than that. Alright, so I've got Autodesk Fusion open here. This is the piece that I came up with to replace the little glass pane that was on the sawmill. Instead of a clear piece, of course, I just got the pin, but I used a set of digital calipers and found the measurements for all the holes and the spacing and everything. This ought to make a pretty legit little piece. I'm printing 3 of them so that there's a couple backups just in case, but it's only 8 grams of filament. It'll only take 15 minutes to print, so almost free replacement. And I'm printing it out of the carbon fiber PET G here on the Flash Forge 85X. Alright, here are what the pieces turned out like. We just got a mounting plate with a little pin, and I already mounted one of them up. and I think this will work pretty good. They've got a good bit of flex to them, so if it does get caught, what happened was the old piece got caught on this bolt right here whenever I went cranking the sawmill head up, and it busted that piece. So it's got a good amount of flex, and if it does break, then there's a few spares we've got.
So I was pretty impressed with his ingenuity, being able to measure that out, design it on his little program, and print it out with a 3D printer. That's a pretty cool skill to have. Now, one aspect of milling your own lumber that I enjoy about as much as any part of it is getting to see what's inside the logs, and the lumber is so beautiful. Just something you don't notice when you're buying store-bought lumber. Now, if you've been paying close attention to the background scenery, you'll notice that we've had changes in seasons throughout this whole build, and it's been kind of interesting to watch. We give Cameron a really hard time about how long it took him to build this deck, but at the same time, he's been going to school, he's got a career, he's got a young baby, so lots of things going on in his life, and the deck just kind of has to be a side job that he gets to when he gets to. All right, well, I'm sitting here with Bob the Builder. So how was the experience of building your own deck, milling your own lumber?
Miserable. Wouldn't recommend.
So it turned into a way bigger job than he expected. Probably bigger than I thought it would be too. What kind of wood did you use, first of all?
I think there's a mix of poplar, hickory, white oak, and red oak. And that might be it.
I'll bet that hickory was a bear to run through the planer.
Yeah, it struggled.
Yeah. So all of this was done with the Mac sawmill and the Vevor planer. And all the planing that we've done, the blades have not been changed on that or sharpened or anything. That Vevor planer does a good job.
Probably do now.
Yeah, they probably need it now. So he milled and planed all of his lumber. And then, what kind of stain did you put on this?
It was like Cabo, semi-transparent burnt hickory.
Yeah,
but it's an oil-based sealer stain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was some kind of a sealer stain because obviously it's not treated wood. And here's the thing: they don't intend to live here forever. This is kind of a let's get our family started kind of setup here, and eventually they want to build a house. And so he was thinking, well, get the experience of building a deck and
hopefully it'll last, you know, them long enough that they'll be ready for the next step by the time it's wore
Spend
out.
a year building it so that it'll last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, spend a year building it. So I went back and looked because I asked him when he started this. This has been the running family joke for a year now, because he's coming up on a year. I think it took you 11 months.
August 15th, I think is when I started.
August 15th. So I'm going to show you guys where I was at on my house build and where I'm at now, what I accomplished. This is how we've been doing him for like the whole year, because it's been a slow process. Now, you know, having kids, raising kids.
Got my master's degree since then. You know, I have had 2 promotions since then.
Oh man, here it comes. Here it comes. Old boy can defend himself. Well, I think you did a good job, especially, you know, never having built anything and then working with lumber that you milled, because here's the thing, that adds a whole other dimension, because it's not just about being able to build true and square, because you're dealing with lumber that dries out and warps and bends, and so you got to try to accommodate all that stuff as well. It wasn't easy, I know it wasn't, but you got a nice spot here to hang out now.
Yeah.
Gonna have to get you a Blackstone, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna say no, get a pellet grill.
Yeah.
That will be the comments, I'm sure. But all right, well, I guess that's about gonna wrap this one up. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, get outside and enjoy God's creation, because it's beautiful out here. Y'all have a good day.